Hello, Tom.
Good afternoon, Pat.
Yes, indeed. Is it? I don't know. You tell me.
It's probably the earliest we've ever recorded. It's 2:15 p.m. on a Tuesday currently.
But that does not change the fact that I would like you to repeat after me
Okay.
in a weird power play move. Just like, I'll repeat after you if you want. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea.
No, I'll repeat after you. I
Oh, cool.
insist.
Well, we are entering into this social contract, both agreeing. A gentleman's, a gentleman's deal here. Just so everyone knows, this is not a forceful, weird power play type situation. Just to be very clear, we can put it in writing if need be. Matt, I know you get worried about that type of stuff. Okay, here we go. I, Thomas Patrick Kelly,
I, Thomas Patrick Kelly,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to spread Christmas cheer by singing loud for all to hear.
to spread Christmas cheer by singing loud for all to hear, even though it is the day after Christmas. I ad-libbed there.
All right, let's start the show.
Okay. Does that void the contract?
Yep. I guess we'll just have to go on, carry on as needed. How are you, my man?
I'm good, dude. I am on the last day of a 4-day weekend, and I am going crazy of boredom.
So after our relaxation vacation episode, you are in real time suffering the consequences of not being productive.
Right, exactly.
Or running out of things to be productive regarding.
Right. I mean, I've expressed many times that I hate the weekends. I had to delete Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter from my phone because I was just like sitting on the couch, going on Facebook, not seeing anything, going on Instagram, not seeing anything, going immediately back to Facebook. Like, what the am I doing?
Sounds like you need to start drinking or smoking or something. Sounds like your natural dependency is taking different forms, but being equally as destructive. Not equally as destructive, right. But taking a different, weirder toll, especially.
Right.
But I've been there. I think we probably all have. Yeah, I've been on Facebook for a few weeks, and it is liberating. It's not even liberating or not liberating anymore. It's just something I haven't really noticed. Because I kept Instagram, and that keeps me up to date, I think.
Sure.
Which I think is my favorite social media platform now that we're a few years into all of them. It's just people trying to take the best photos they can, and there's not too long of captions, and there's kind of a code of... It's like when you're on a golf course and you're going too slow, you can let someone play through. It's like a code of conduct that comes with the activity.
Sure.
Like people aren't super, I don't know, jamming unnecessary updates down your throat on that platform, I feel. Like there's fewer... Like no one's trying to outdank each other meme-wise on that part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's more good photos than there are things that are supposed to be overly dank and whatnot.
Plus,
in terms of Facebook political memes and stuff.
I think what's interesting is the share function is a lot more difficult in Instagram. You have to like use the third party. So most of it is, with the exception of some memes, like mostly original content, more so than Facebook. I feel like the people who post are a little more selective about what they post, so it's naturally like higher quality posts, quote unquote.
Yeah, they recently put, you could put multiple photos in the same post, which I don't care too much for.
Really?
But it doesn't necessarily upset me actively.
Oh, I love it.
I just preferred the one good glimpse. There was a challenge the other day I saw people doing, which was like 5 consecutive days of just black and white photos with no living things in them.
Right.
Of like your day to day. And that to me was like a really good Instagram challenge people were doing, just, I don't know, capturing the world around them. The videos I didn't care much for, and the multiple photos I didn't care much for. But yeah, I like how it's self-contained. Some people tweet the links to their Instagram photos, which I'm not sure why people bother, but...
Right.
Anywho.
Dude, let me just say, I think the multiple photos thing is the best way to do it. Like, the way that they have done it is the best way, because if you don't want to look at 10 photos, you don't have to. You can scroll right past it. It's not everything all at once. You can elect. You could opt in to see the others.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if you're going to do it that way, you might as well let people choose if they want to have to sit through it or look at a collage of random crap.
Right. I think it's great. I love it. I don't use it that much. I never really need to, but I think it is a wonderful, wonderful function. for sure. And recently, they made it so if you pinch with 2 fingers, you can kind of temporarily zoom into the photo. It zooms back out as soon as you let the fingers go. I think that is nice because it wasn't always like that either. So, yeah, good things from
I will say
Instagram.
Instagram has a bit of a like when you go to the suggestions, there's a lot of I guess the term Instagram model has probably become more popular over the last calendar year
Right.
to the general public, and to me, myself included. The thirst, I guess, that exists on that particular social media platform, I could do without, quite frankly. I'd rather just see like some of my old Albuquerque friends posting mountain photos, but I guess every social media platform has its negative aspects, I suppose. I don't know.
Well, then just don't follow the Instagram models, right?
No, that's a good point. But when you go to the search function, I feel like
okay.
it's like, here's a bunch of stuff that's popular on Instagram, and it is quite frequently butts. If you don't mind me being crass, the day after Christmas. But it's like, come on, man. It's like I'm at work. I don't know. I don't even see this, but just kidding. All in good fun. Did you enjoy your Christmas?
It was nice, man. It was the second year that I've just stayed home with Megan and didn't.
And by staying home, meaning you did not see friends or family.
Right. I didn't even leave the house. We took the dog to the park for like a half an hour, but
Ooh, nice.
FaceTimed my mom and
illegally,
dad.
Right? Because pit bulls are not legal in Denver.
He is allowed in Englewood, which is where I live, which is like a 1/10 of a mile from the Denver border. So he was good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it. Sticking it to the man, working the system. In classic Christmas spirit.
But yeah, we just kind of slept in a little bit. We stayed up late watching Beauty and the Beast on Christmas Eve with Emma Watson, who is one of my absolute favorite people on earth, and slept in, did some presents, and yeah, just FaceTime the family. What did I get?
Yeah.
Mostly Amazon Echo related products, Hue lights, smart switches, an Echo. I already have the Echo.
Jessie she already had a taller one. She got one of the smaller ones and one of the switches. So you're pro smart home, it sounds like.
Yeah, dude. I have our whole bedroom with the lights now, the bedside table, both of them. I've got one in the living room, the smart switch with the salt lamp. I got my studio lights on the smart switch now. It's amazing to like just be able to dim the lights, not have to get up, not have to find your phone, turn lights off. You can often we kind of forget to leave a light on for the dog. If we leave when it's light out, come back when it's dark, you can just like turn the living room light on when you're on the road. Stuff like that is just cool, man. I'm super excited for that kind of stuff.
There's something about it that makes me want to be upset, but then like you posted a meme today or someone posted a meme in response to your status today. The example was someone in the early or the mid 1900s might have said, yeah, someday the U.S. government's going to wiretap our houses. And then the other part of the meme was, hey, wiretap, can penguins eat cookies or something like that? But, like willingly placing it inside. And part of me wants to be like, I don't know, if I like this, to Jessie, like, it's listening forever. It's like, when do you say anything of consequence, ever? Like, if this were like the modern day version of the American Revolution and this was like the back alley bar we were meeting in, like, I don't know, like nothing of consequence is going to be said. So just appreciate the fact that you don't have to stand up to turn the lights off, I guess.
Right. And I think current laws in place, you can't be incriminated for being secretly recorded, I believe is the law.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean,
the thing that gets me is how they accidentally turn on sometimes. So, like, how many variations of the quote trigger word are on their books as being something they could, quote confuse with, starting them to record. Like, oh, I thought you said, smell smexa or or whatever the hell. Like, so we recorded the next 7 hours of dialogue. Part of it just rubs me in a weird way. I don't super care. I'm looking at one right now. And she has told us the weather accurately and promptly whenever That's mostly what Jesse uses it for, I think. It's like, should I wear a sweater? It's like, probably. It's like, oh, cool. That's
My
I guess this isn't so much a conspiracy after all.
the thing that I'm most upset about with the Echo is that you can't change the name, the wake up name to anything. We wanted it to be like okay, so like on Hulu,
D'Artagnan or something.
we wanted to say like "Ayo bitch," like, or like
that's a really good one.
You know, like "Hey face."
And you could put some serious stank on "Ayo bitch." There's a lot of room in those like 3 syllables to really let it fly and shoot from the hip.
And
give you a
what's
lot of
funny
freedom.
is that was actually Megan's suggestion. I was like, damn,
nice.
okay.
Hey, yo. Like,
but you only have 4 options of like Alexa, computer, Echo, and something else.
D'Artagnan.
I'm a little upset about that, for sure.
Yeah.
But especially because, you know, we on Hulu, they play these commercials where they're advertising for the Echo, and they're like, hey, Alexa, in the commercial, and then both my systems are like, sorry, I didn't get that, you know? Like, dude, just let me change it. I don't know. Maybe in a future update, but I'm sure they want to keep the trigger word from being face or ayo bitch or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I think, is ayo bitch one of the most underrated phrases in like the Urban Dictionary lexicon? Should people be saying ayo bitch more often? Probably not. Probably not. You shouldn't be calling people bitches, and I will say that now. I almost regret heading down this path. But as far as like funness level to say when not directed at anyone in a derogatory way, it's like, oh, hey, yo, bitch. I don't know. There's something about the cadence. There's something about like how you can I feel like I'm here in a room alone recording with you over Skype, and I still feel like it's landed, and there's like a crowd being like, oh, no way. Oh, no. Oh, is that? Okay. That is the direction we've headed as a mob type mentality in this particular Yo Mama episode featuring Valderrama. I said that name wrong. Anyway, it's fun to say, probably inappropriate. My apologies to everyone per usual. I got some tech for Christmas as well, an iPhone 7.
Yeah.
And, it's one of the ones with the cordless headphones.
Yes, the way it should be.
You mentioned before we started recording that you just ran into the issue of wanting to charge and use headphones, given like the one port adapter, right? Am I understanding your predicament correctly?
Yeah, so the Lightning adapter has audio out capabilities. So when you are charging your phone and for some fucking reason you still want to use wired headphones, which I don't support most of the time, like,
I mean, you'd be in an airport.
I'm all about the Bluetooth lifestyle, right? I mean, they got rid of
Tom, if anybody knows anything about you, they gotta know that you're all about the Bluetooth lifestyle.
I think cords are, I mean, there's a reason they don't have an aux cable on the iPhones, and I think consequently the Pixel and some of the Samsung phones followed suit. It's inconvenient. Why would you ever want headphones with a cord going into your pocket? Especially on the Apple headphones, which are just impossible to keep in my ears. But when we record the podcast, I want my computer to just be recording, so I use Skype through my phone. So I have one earbud in my ear monitoring our Skype call from my phone, and then I have my over-the-ear headphones monitoring the recording, just my audio. It's a really weird, convoluted setup that I'm not a huge fan of, but I cannot use the Bluetooth headphones with it. So this is the only time that I would ever really use wired headphones, and my phone just happens to be below 20%. So it is the first time I'm in this predicament. This is the only situation in which I would find myself in this predicament. But out of respect, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Instagram, I'm not playing games while we're talking, so the phone should hold its charge for another hour, I'm hoping.
Out of respect to who?
To you.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like to Apple. I'm like, easy. Like, we don't have to genuflect just because there's an Alexa in the room. I was going to say, thank you for the courteous laughter, to quote Julian Baker in her Tiny Desk concert. Do you think that Apple's getting worse over the past few versions of the phone? You have an iPhone X, and it's my understanding you enjoy it. Do you think it can only get better or worse? There was a report out today. This is Tuesday, the 26th, um, that shareholders or investors, cited a lukewarm interest in the iPhone X, and that it perhaps wasn't this mind blowing. I don't know. Are the face recognition emojis enough? I mean, what? I just want your thoughts because you're kind of a tech head more than me, anyhow. And now that I have a larger phone, I'm mostly upset that this phone wouldn't fit in my pocket, but I do hope it runs better machine wise. There was also the report earlier last week about iPhones, them making them move slower, and there was a bit of an uproar in their press release that they released said we slow them down to conserve battery life, and now they're facing legal action. I think last time I checked, I haven't really checked the tech news headlines in a couple days because of the holiday, but well, I don't know. That's a lot to unpack at once, but we'll start at the beginning. Do you think it's getting worse over time? Like there's just making updates for the sake of updates instead of embracing what people enjoyed about it, or?
Well, I think the iPhone 10 suffers from the fact that it's not called the iPhone X. First of all, it should just be iPhone
Have
X.
I been saying it wrong? Did it jump from 8 to 10?
Yeah.
I assumed it was X because there's
Yeah.
no 9, correct?
Right, and I think I saw something about like this is rumor, I guess. I just heard that legally for some reason they can't have an iPhone 9, but I don't know why they would jump from 8 to 10. But yeah, it is 10, not X, which it should just be X. It sounds cooler as X. But
Triple X, that's 3 times the cool.
Right.
Ask Vin Diesel, okay? He's a Hollywood actor, okay? He knows what he's talking about, folks.
So I went from the iPhone SE, which is the form factor of the 5.
Which I like the size, pocket-wise. That's my main thing, is that this thing's going in my pocket, right?
Right.
Or else it's going to fall or break. Too big. I mean, like you wear smaller pants than I do. Where do you put it? Where do you put your phone?
So that is kind of a problem. I like the overall size of the 5, but after seeing the screen size of the 10, it makes me angry to look at like my old SE now. Like, how did I live on that tiny screen, right? Like,
right, but are you binge watching shows on it?
Just games, like apps in general are
so you game
a lot bigger.
Heavily on the phone.
Not real. There's one game I've been obsessed with lately called Alto's Adventure. I've been playing that a lot. It looks amazing on this phone. The OLED screen, I could never go back from that now. I don't know the numbers on the iPhone 10. I know that they were sold out for the first couple weeks. Seems like they were selling enough, but it was expensive, and people were upset about that. I was willing to pay the leasing cost, which was rather reasonable. I think it's worth every penny after using it for about a month.
Well, I've seen people tweet like, you pay a certain amount for a mattress because you spend a third of your life on it. You should spend their point was you should spend a certain amount on your phone. When people saw the cost of the iPhone 10 or X, that was kind of, it was expensive, obviously pricey. But somebody was saying, I mean, you invest in mattresses, you should invest in phones because it's just something that's become a part of daily life. And why would you skimp on something that sometimes defines where you eat, how you get to places, who you talk, how you communicate with friends, family, which I thought was an interesting point. I'm curious what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on my phone constantly for work stuff, for the podcast stuff, and just I use my phone a lot. I like it. So and I'm not, I know there's people out there who just make calls and they text and check email, but like I'm not the biggest like power user of my phone, but I think I would fall into the lighter edge of that. So when you're getting all you can out of $1,000 phone, it becomes more valuable rather than spending $1,000 just to like send emails, which, on like Apple's own system, right? You're not even using third-party apps, which are more powerful and whatnot. So I think if you're the kind of person that does that, you'd be more willing to spend the money to get the most out of an amazing phone with, what is it, like a 6-core processor? Like, it is insanity, especially coming from the iPhone SE, which sounds like it was throttled when I updated to iOS 11. which I don't have a problem with. I think a lot of people could criticize me for just being an Apple fanboy and being like, oh, well, of course you wouldn't care what Apple does because you suck their dick.
Right. Someone sent out a tweet the other day that said something like, 100 years from now, like the same argument for Apple does this or Apple does that, I don't care, I love Apple, will become like, oh, it sucks a little of my blood, like, out of my body while I'm sleeping. Like, nah, I don't care, I'll probably stick with Apple. Like, you know what I mean? Like, actively takes organic nutrients from my being while I sleep. It's like, nah, I mean, it's what I'll probably stick with it. I saw rave reviews about was it the Google Pixel 2?
Sure.
It's like the first commercial for a non-iPhone I've seen since smartphones came to be, that I thought, oh man, that thing looks good. I think it was the Pixel 2. There's a lot of reviews about, I've always been tempted to switch, but I'm also, I guess, as we slowly drift into what will become our first tech episode in the year we've been doing the show, net neutrality recently took its first step toward, it's facing a lot of legal action now, but it passed. I think the president signed it last week before the holiday. It took a step towards becoming law, right? Or is law now. You may know more than me, but I guess if we just jump to the part where things start costing more, hypothetically speaking, could you live without internet? Would you go back to a flip and pay as you go? Would you have a burner, tiny Nokia type phone? I don't know. What would you do? What would you do if the worst happened in terms of the net neutrality discussion? I don't know.
Well, I don't think the worst is going to happen because of the repercussions of.
I almost feel dumb even trying to pose that question, and I apologize to the listeners for maybe spouting out some inaccuracies while trying to form it. But it passed Congress, the president signed it, and then now they're facing legal action, right? And
I don't think it did pass.
I
don't think it did pass Congress yet. The FCC voted on it. It's not a law yet.
I'm thinking of the tax bill thing. There was just a lot that happened last week. You're right.
Right.
Well, my apologies sincerely. FCC signed off on it. And the fear online has been large, right? There were actual protests, I think, 3 weeks ago.
There were marches in DC, I'm pretty sure, about that.
But, how would you react if the worst happened? But you don't think it will, I guess, is your first point, right?
I don't think it will, but that's not to say I'm not concerned about it. And again, I just want to go out and say, we're not a tech podcast. We're not trying to be. Nor are we the people to be doing a tech podcast. We went into this episode with no plans, and this is where it's going.
Well, we have plans. We'll get to them later. We're probably gonna talk Ron Carnage a little bit later, and a little more holiday stuff, some eerie winter stuff as record snowfall dumps on our hometown.
Right.
And we'll get to them in due time, but I'm honestly curious now. We'll probably finish this out after the net neutrality point. The reason I asked you first is because I don't think it would be that hard to unplug. I can use the internet at work, I feel like. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have any problem not paying for internet and going to the library if I needed it and just kind of unplugging. I don't know. I'm almost like, I kind of hope that happens in a weird way.
Right.
Just to prove to myself that I could, like, read enough or read more or play cards with friends enough to do it, right? And I know that might sound hipsterish. Does it sound hipster or just douchey? I don't know. But does it sound douchey to say you'd want to prove to yourself that you could last without it?
I don't think so, but you have to keep in mind.
You would want them to dare you to prove them like it was a bad idea, right? Like, I don't have to pay for Twitter. Twitter actively upsets me most of the time. You know what I mean? People were joking about like a few cents per Google search. It's like, who would be tempted to? I don't know. Do you think you need it in your day to day? Would you pay more? Are these things really an issue? I guess I'm not read enough up on the subject to. I've just seen the conspiracy stuff on, sites like Twitter. People joking about like, paying $1 per Google search when people are curious what movie, X, Y, or Z was in.
I don't think it's hipstery or douchey to say you would want to prove to yourself you could do that, but this podcast wouldn't exist if we didn't have internet. The network wouldn't exist. maybe no podcasts would really exist, because not only would, maybe $1 million companies could pay for the internet to have them made, but then their consumers don't
Well,
really
you can
have
move to
access.
Cincinnati, and we could upload it at the library.
Right,
Huh?
right. That thought did cross my mind. I feel like
That's the only solution. We should prepare by you just moving here now in case.
if that did happen, I mean, I would hope that we would revert back to just burning down city halls, if they made those decisions. Like, don't tweet
Right.
about it, don't hashtag. Like, I feel like riots and death would be the next step. Not that I'm encouraging that, I kind of am. But I don't think.
I think you just broke a law by trying to incite a riot. You just yelled fire in a crowded theater, my man. You should backtrack immediately.
I don't think it would happen without serious consequences.
Several dozen people are going to heed your word.
Yes.
Which is better than where we were a year ago, which was
Kyle, take to City Hall, burn it
Yeah.
down, take no prisoners. Counting on
just
you.
light a match, do that thing where you flick it against the box and it flies a little bit, and then run away.
I could not. Well, I mean, I could if I had to live without internet, right? I've done it for a weekend at a time when I'm around people that I love and care about, and it's great. I could certainly use less connectivity in my life, but
Sounds like it. And I'm not judging. You've admitted yourself that you seem to have almost a cigarette-like habit of opening your phone and checking Instagram.
Right. And it's to the point where, like, if I move my Facebook icon, I will absentmindedly click whatever is in its place, opening the wrong app and being like, why is this open?
Right. I hate when I'm at work and my fingers hit F enter because Chrome fills out Facebook and it'll go to the, you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
And I will do that, X out the tab, and then do it again. You know what I mean? And I'll go to the site twice without thinking, just because it's muscle memory to a certain degree.
Yeah, it's funny. I realize that
Which is
whenever
deeply
I'm
upsetting.
looking at Google Analytics, I type anal enter. And if I'm on the wrong computer, that could go very differently.
It's weird how your mind puts those little shortcuts together. Just putting stories in categories at work or organizing the website. Yeah. Like for example, nothing dirty, just the word downtown, like for downtown Cleveland or something. Like I just write dount, like DOWNT, and that'll, put instead of downtown, comma, whatever.
Right.
But it's funny that you put anal for analytics. It sounds like a Will Ferrell Jeopardy sketch he would have starred in on SNL in the early 2000s or something.
I feel like I never answered your question about the net neutrality stuff. Maybe that's okay, but I think
you did by saying you don't think it's going to be an issue.
Well, I hope not, and I hope that they don't charge for like the social media packages, whatever. I feel like I would try to not pay just as like a protest vote, voting with your money or whatever. But I don't know.
I don't think that's like a throwaway thought to laugh at or scoff at. I mean, you can choose with your dollar every day. I mean, don't you know, Tom? Millennials killed Applebee's, and it's sad. They're offering $1 Long Island iced teas, which we can't really talk about it because you don't drink. But that is such a fucking absurd thing that I wish we could do a whole episode on the Applebee's doing $1.
I actually have a lot to say about that.
I would love to fucking talk about it, quite frankly. I know more about Long Island iced teas than I do net neutrality, quite frankly.
Okay, so
and the downfall of Applebee's has been such a weirdly compelling locomotive in slow motion, just burning and crashing. That's not a phrase. I think I combined 4 different things into one. It's a train crash in slow motion, right?
I don't know.
Locomotive slow motion. Everybody's due. Anyway, would you please start talking?
It's not that
Jeb
much,
Bush,
but
please clap.
We have please clap. We have we used to have 3 crews at work. Now we're just down to 1, and there's 8 people, which is the size of 2, but we only have 1 crew lead. It's like this huge mess. But our crew lead, he's a very nice guy. He's from like a small town on the East Coast, and it seems like his culinary experience is pretty limited, as you would expect it to be, like from someone from Erie. And every day he's like, "Oh man, if we get done early, we can go to Applebee's." And it's like, dude, why are you so obsessed with Applebee's? Like, to him, it's like the pinnacle of luxury or something. But he's always like, dollar Long Island iced teas. And my buddy Jimmy, who is like a competitive cocktail waiter, he's always like, dude, who the drinks Long Island iced teas? I haven't had one since I was 15, you know? Like, this dude's so into Applebee's, so into these dollar Long
I was
Island
at
iced
the
teas.
Park Tavern in Lawrence Park on one Sunday with my dad watching. They were showing a Browns game. Like we would just try to sniff out where the Browns were being shown on TV. A lot. He would buy me a Coca-Cola or something. But I was like too young to see this type of Rust Belt sadness. But across the bar, some woman who was like a third of the way through a pack of Parliaments, just from sitting there that afternoon, asked for a Long Island iced tea, and the dude just picks up. Like it was Long Island iced teas are meant to be strong, but like you're talking about like I don't know 6 bottles of well something just poured in and had this glossy, weird, liquory look to how clear it was. Like there's just death in that bottle, gin, vodka, all the crap, and splash a little Coke and put a lemon in it or whatever the recipe is. If I'm butchering it, Matt, please correct me. But she just had these bags under her eyes, and as she grandma ashed the rest of her like cigarette out. She just I don't know, just like that much liquor at like 1:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday.
Oh,
It was just like your friend said, like how was that even the selling point? You know what I mean? They had dollar margaritas for the month of November, I think Applebee's did. I'm not let me say this. Applebee's I think can serve a purpose as long as nobody's I don't know. Like my dad always used to tell me like you should go through life pretending you're not better than anyone or anything, right? I've enjoyed the random Chipotle chicken wraps at Applebee's throughout the day. I've eaten meals there, and they have provided my body with nutrients, and it was reasonably priced, and there were interesting things on the walls, and those are some positive things you can say, right? But this death rattle, like when you take your dog to the vet, and the day it's supposed to be put down, it jumps in your arms like it was a puppy and you second guess putting it down, or you look for little signs like that. I feel like this Long Island iced tea thing is Applebee's jumping back into the public's arm, like we can be a puppy again. We're all you ever dreamed of. We're quirky. We're TGI Fridays. Like this is. Don't you remember? People buy gift cards to come here, and it's a treat. It's like I don't know.
well,
What's that one meme? It's like,
God.
Sorry, I'm just spurting other people's humor, but something about like, hi, it's your old friend from high school. I've seen you in a bunch of years, and I still think Olive Garden is fancy. But anyway, here's a racist article or
Right.
something on Facebook. Like it was like the meme to take down Facebook. But Olive Garden, Applebee's, all that stuff. Like these crazy, desperate deals that arise. Like whatever that lunch deal at Olive Garden was for like all you can eat salad and breadsticks and soup. Just like suffocate on these breadsticks for $5. I don't know. It's sad, but I don't know.
I
Put them out of their
think the
misery.
thing with those chain restaurants is growing up in Erie, where there was literally like, you're gonna hate me for this, but like no culture. You thought Olive Garden was the fancy restaurant, and if you were like hella rich, you went to Red Lobster, right?
I've never been to a Red Lobster. I hear their rolls are nice.
I don't remember. It's been so long at this point.
As far
but
as
like,
rolls with cheese on them can be nice.
the thing about Olive Garden is that you can go there and get a pasta dish for like $12, and it'll be lacking salt, lacking any like interesting flavor, or you can go to like a locally owned small business restaurant and get the same dish for like $1 more, and it tastes way better. Like Applebee's isn't much cheaper than a
Did you ever used to go to Erie's Little Italy?
No.
There were some interesting restaurants, and I only went there because my dad used to play for the Little League teams they used to sponsor. I think was Luigi's one of them, like a corner store.
No, I don't know.
Down by what's the I can't believe this name is about to slip my mind. Ainsworth Park over on the west side, like West 26th near. There's a divider street that connects it to Peach or French. Anyway, near Ainsworth Park. And it was good, man. Giant meatballs, stuff like that. But you're right. Like, would you want to go park in part of a crumbling part of a Rust Belt city to pay $2 more for a dish, or do you go up to Peace Street and wait an extra 15 minutes to have, a very generic, right, Disney, ESPN version of, just a blanketed something what the product's going to be type thing?
Yeah, I guess I didn't even like consider the parking aspect of that, because if you're in Erie specifically, you're going to go downtown for like what was it? Under the Clock is in like the Boston, the hell's that place called? The Boston Center. But then you have street
The
parking.
Boston store.
Yeah, Boston store.
It's like the historic Erie downtown shopping place where most of the radio stations were headquartered. Like they had studios down there on the first floor and stuff.
Right. It's the tallest building.
In the heart of downtown Erie.
It's the tallest building at 13 stories, right? Is that it?
It pretty much overlooks the bay. I think it's safe to say that.
But yeah, then you're, trying to find street parking, which isn't horrible in Erie. You have to pay for the meter. So maybe there is but then it's a toss-up. It's the convenience of parking, but then for some reason there's always a half an hour wait at if you're going to like Olive Garden, Applebee's, Texas Roadhouse, which definitely has the best rolls for sure.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah,
okay.
dude.
I like I said, I haven't even tried the Lobster House ones, or what the is the restaurant called? Red Lobster.
Right. I don't know. There was one day that I was like, you know what? I haven't been to Applebee's in so long. I want to go just to see if it's anything how I remember, because Applebee's was a treat growing up. Because it was the fancy place. But I went there and I was like, dude, this pasta doesn't taste like anything. Like, why do people come here and wait and pay almost as much as like an actual nice place down the road?
Yeah, I think to put it in perspective, people would go to their like pre-homecoming dinners at Olive Garden.
Right.
In high school, which was very telling for how it was viewed. And this will probably end up coming full circle as we kind of wind down on this particular segment, as people keep saying millennials are killing stuff, but what have they killed that wasn't supposed to die anyway?
Or like, didn't deserve it? Like,
millennials are killing super average family restaurants that, what was the tweet the one time? Like, Applebee's when you don't want to defrost your frozen TV dinner at home. Or, like... I thought that was just so genius. Because that's pretty much what it is. You're just like, I'll give you $3 extra to heat this up for me and bring it to my table.
Yeah,
and now I can get fucking hammered for $3.50. like shit hammered. Like, can't make it out of the strip mall. Oh, God. Anyway, millennials are killing things, but it's the stuff you guys didn't have the balls to kill yourselves.
I think the talk of millennials killing things is just hilarious, because it's like, well, I know that people work there and they make these products and offer these services, but maybe they deserve to die because it was never that good to begin with. And maybe millennials and whoever else are smart enough to just now realize that. And they.
Well, I mean, has it been proven yet? And I honestly don't know. Has it been proven to be a byproduct of the, keep Austin weird, buy local, small business Saturday type, movement? Are we allowed to call it a movement as of late, or is that just tradition now to embrace the things that are produced uniquely in your city?
Well, I think maybe, I don't know if there's like some classism stuff involved in there, where like, oh, you took a date to Applebee's, like, what the like, it's like cheap.
I don't think there's any hate. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's no judgment. I have smashed several Chipotle chicken wraps at Applebee's, like going, to college in a small town in Ohio. We went and we did all the Court Street stuff, but if we needed something in a pinch that wasn't going to be a line, we just went to Applebee's to eat something before we went to, a game or when,
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're above it, but are we allowed to not be sad that it's dying? Like, I guess you have to report on it since it is going away and it's kind of a staple chain in the nation, but I don't know.
I kind of feel like, all this stuff. Millennials are killing Applebee's. They're killing dryer sheets. They're killing, fabric softeners. Like, who fucking
I personally
cares,
love dryer
dude?
sheets. I don't want to be. I would love to be excluded from this narrative.
Okay, Taylor Swift. I don't know. I kind of feel like who fucking cares? You know, if it's dead, then it wasn't a good product, and the people who work those jobs can hopefully find other jobs that are, you know, a more intimate
Right.
company
If
and
people are
setting,
going to go
whatever.
with it's going to trickle down, let the chips fall where they may, then like some shit's going to have to die.
Yeah,
Right. I
it's
mean,
like,
like if you're allowed to say something's going to trickle down, then we're allowed to not shop at certain things and
well,
let.
also, you know, they criticize millennials or, you know, the younger generation for sympathizing with these like socialist ideals, but then they blame us when capitalism fucking works and they realize something isn't good, so they stop buying it, so it goes out of service and the competition wins. Like, that's literally what you fucking want. So don't.
I'm going to run for president, and I'm going to offer my only ticket item is going to be bailing out family restaurants. It's not going to be bailing out Big Auto. It's not going to be bailing out the banks. I'm going to bail out TGI Fridays, Applebee's, just super average family friendly restaurants that offer decent meals at competitive prices.
But they're not
And
competitive.
Tom, are you running against me right now? Are you announcing your candidacy against my pro Applebee's platform?
Yes, dude. I went to Taco Bell the other day and spent $9, and I was like, "Fuck, I could have gone to Chipotle, dude. Like, that's not even much better. It's not competitive."
That's a good point. That's a good point. Some guy, back when I was drinking at a like sports bar in Albuquerque when I worked there, some guy was like, "Yeah, next thing I know, I went to Subway and I spent like $10." I was like, "This is supposed to be $5." And it's like, my extra large soda added dollars onto my sub. I don't know. It's just like, fuck you. Like, fucking be a smarter consumer, douche. I don't know. That's my response to most of everything. I don't know. Like, read a book. I don't know. Off. People are like, the news is supposed to deliver it to my face eyeballs. And it's like, you know, read anything twice, or you know what I mean? Like, try at all. You know what I mean? Instead of just jumping to the comment section and jerking off into people's fucking faces. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't know. Like, oh, I spent more than I thought at Subway today. Like, oh, I'm at a bar now complaining about it. My wife's at home. It's like, okay. I don't know. Something's wrong here, and it's everyone other than me, it feels sometimes, which is a selfish, dumb thing to say, because obviously everyone's flawed. But it's like, some people, it's like, just, I don't know, read a book, you know, tuck your kids in, go to the park, go get outside, talk to people. But, sorry, that made it sound like I was jumping down your throat for the talk about Chipotle thing, but I get what you're saying. Where like you're like, maybe I'll get a gordita crunch and a drink, and then it's like, well, this could have been a pasta dish at Olive Garden. I could have gotten a lot of soup and salad and breadsticks for this. That's all I'm trying to say.
So, do you want to wrap up this mess of whatever we've been talking about?
I think it started as an iPhone thing.
But, you know, the people who listen to this show, they like, I don't know, us just having a conversation, and this is about as real as it'll get, right? I mean, we didn't plan.
Yeah, you've got to.
The first 45
You'll end up
minutes.
editing it a bit, I think. Once I go back and listen to the track, I'll ask you to cut out a couple things.
I mean, I'll cut out the part where you talked about George Bush for a while. Like,
right, I'm writing a book about him called 43.
So
43, How I Love Thee.
this.
Just kidding. Cut that part out too. I don't know. Everyone's just trying their best, I guess. I don't know. The movie with Josh Brolin, W, and Elizabeth Banks. I think she was in that movie. It was an okay movie, I guess.
Well, yeah.
It is interesting to become people our age. I think specifically, it's interesting to have become politically like 9/11 was our Challenger explosion,
right,
and then we became politically active during the most turbulent. Right? I mean, you could argue Nixon's impeachment and things like that, Watergate, etc. Or Vietnam, probably the '60s. Of course, boomers had their time, whatever. Anyway, it's been interesting, like being of an age to give a shit during the time where it's been the most absolutely insane.
right.
I think I don't know. If I say anything more, it'll probably be just dumb sounding. Not that everything that's come before this has not sounded that way, but we should probably end the segment there. Probably, I think.
All right. Well, let's move on to Now You Know, because we actually have the rest of the episode kind of a loose outline, so we can go.
I mean, we have a jingle to play, so we might as well play it.
All right. Now you know.
Except this week it's going to be a Now I Know. So today, 52 or 53 inches fell on Erie, PA, starting Christmas at midnight, I think, or the midnight heading into Christmas. Jesse and I were in Erie for Christmas, and we left on Christmas Eve at about 1 to get south of Cleveland and Akron, or southwest of there, before the lake effect came in. Which, for those who don't know, there's cold air that comes. I forget if it starts in Alberta. It's called an Alberta Clipper, I think. Meteorologists who listen to the show, of which there are several, can correct me. But I believe the Alberta Clippers come over Lake Michigan, pick up either steam or more coldness, and just get kind of slingshot. Is that the past tense version of slingshot?
Slingshot in.
Over Lake Erie. And so, like, if you live in Cleveland, people who live in Cleveland kind of are familiar with this, or people who live in Toledo even. Like, Toledo gets the cold temperatures, but they don't get dumped on, I don't believe. So if you live on the west side of Cleveland, and if you live on the east side of Cleveland, there could be a lake effect snowstorm, right? The west side could get an inch, and the east side could get, like, starting in Menor over towards Ashtabula into Erie, right? They could get a foot, right? It swoops right past where Cleveland happens to be. And then Erie, Edinburgh, Buffalo, like if you look at the top snowfall cities in America, I mean, there's a reason Erie and Buffalo beat out Alaskan towns, right? It's just Alberta Clipper over Lake Michigan, slingshot over Lake Erie, and it just dumps, right? It needs to go somewhere, and Erie just happens to be where it is. This week was a prime example of that. What was it, a record-setting Christmas Day snowfall of 52 inches? Or was it a record-setting 30-hour snowfall period?
So, yeah, the Christmas between midnight and 1 p.m., there was something like 23 inches. And then in a 30-hour period, there were 53 inches of snow. And it was actually declared a state of emergency, which I've never in my life seen in Erie.
Right. It was very rare, and I was talking to a couple friends about this the other day. We were talking about snow days, and we used to have several allotted, right, to use, but they would never use them, and we often got out of school 3 or 4 days earlier because of it, or they'd have to burn it on like a random 3-day weekend in the spring.
Right.
Do you remember anything like that?
Yeah, so
like they'd be like, "Oh, we have 4 built in." I'm like, "Today would be a good day to use it." There is actively layers of ice on most roadways, right? Like.
yeah, I remember my mom's Ford Taurus struggling to get up this hill going on to French Street for high school. I mean, like almost every day having to push this car up a hill just because the ice and snow. And the little anecdote or story that I like to tell people about when I'm telling people about how bad the snow in Erie is, and to show contrast, like in DC, school was closed for 2 days for a chance of snow, and it never even snowed. My one and only detention in high school, it was either I think it was my senior year, at the beginning of my senior year. It snowed 32 inches overnight, and I was 5 minutes late to homeroom, and I got a detention. Not only was school canceled,
No.
I got a fucking detention for being 5 minutes late.
Was it Philomena?
Miss Rad.
Yes. Was it her who did it?
Oh, yeah, it was her.
Oh, okay.
Crazy, right? Like,
I guess I don't know her like that. I shouldn't be referring to her by her first name.
So yeah, like the snow in Erie was just, if it snowed 3 feet, you got up a little early and you did your normal shit, right? Like that's just, it never seemed,
shovel the walk and
it never
warm up the
seemed
car
weird
while
to
you...
me until in DC it snowed like a foot one day, and work, school, everything was shut down for over 2 weeks, man. Like I didn't go to school for, I think it was like 15 days because of a foot of snow. They called it snowpocalypse. Like it was just the most average day where we came from. And it wasn't until we left that I realized how weird it was to grow up like that.
Yeah, I think so. That's the Now I Know of this week is, I guess we just gave everybody a bit of a Erie snow lesson, but I didn't. So, like, you see movies about Christmas, and it's like, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. You know, like, wow, everyone gets about 3 feet on Christmas Day, right? Like, that's, you got to shovel out several feet. and it's a winter wonderland, and there are warlocks and reindeer with or red colored beaks and stuff like that, and you're like, there's just so much snow and it's so fluffy. That must be everyone's collective experience because of how often we see it in pop culture. But this week's Now I Know is that is so fucking not the case. Erie is such a freak show of snowfall. When I went to college in Athens, there was only a few dustings every winter, and it was like that every year. I'm in Cincinnati now, and we get some of the cold, and even like I said in Cleveland, if you live on the west side versus the east side, your winters will look drastically different just because of this one specific weather pattern that makes Erie a very special, I'm going to say special place to live.
All right.
Growing up anyway. There's only 3 months of summer and stuff like that. And we can do an Erie episode later, but I guess the Now I Know this week is, and people feel free to write in or tweet us at _reminiscent FM about your winter experiences. I know we have a couple Canadian listeners that write the show, specifically Matthew. Julie grew up in Erie. I'd love to hear her best winter story. It's not normal, right? I think that's kind of the Now I Know this week, if you'll allow me to phrase it that way. It's totally not normal to have such a lusciously white Christmas, right? Weather-wise. Do you feel lucky or cursed to have that have been your reality, Tom?
I feel lucky because, I remember I borrowed my mom's, again, like her old Ford Focus on a day that it snowed like a foot. And I was like, yo, I want to go to my friend Tony's house. It's like a 20-minute drive. And my mom was like, all right, be safe. Like I was 17 and it just like, that's just what you did. I do remember sliding off the road a little bit, not quite in the ditch, but you just put it in reverse and you keep driving. That was just so
right. People
so
have
normal.
Asked me, what's the trick to driving in snow? And there's no trick, man. You just keep enough distance for a freak slide in between you and the person in front of you, and you just go slow as hell. There's no like Vin Diesel skill required. I get points for 2 Vin Diesel references this episode, by the way. Fast and Furious, and from 2 different franchises as well.
Sure.
I think should be a bonus point counting if we're counting at home. For those of you keeping track at home, my first wreck when I just got my license. It was at, was it not 12th? It might have been something like 14th over by Brendel's Painting near, right when you're about to get on 26 near the old Erie County Farms. Anyway,
right.
I'm coming towards the area and I hit the brakes 20 yards. This isn't even revisionist history. This is just accurate. And I am sliding and Casey Folga's in the passenger seat. And I think my sister or my brother, somebody else is in the back seat. We're just trying to get to Academy for the day. Another day that very much should have been a canceled day of school.
Right.
And 20 yards of just sliding. And it was one of those like Pixar moments where like it's like you can almost hear the bink when you touch the bumper of the other car. And the lady comes brushing out of her car with her baby son in her hands. She pulls him out of the back seat and he's waking up. She's like, baby, are you okay? He's like, huh? Are we at school? Like I didn't notice anything. Like the bump didn't even wake him from his slumber.
Right.
And she's just like, I can't even handle this. We need to pull into the neighboring parking lot and work this out. And luckily it wasn't anything egregious insurance-wise. But yeah, growing up in Erie, like you said, you remember going off the road. It was just part of it. Like, I have lost control of the vehicle. This is a situation we're in. We're sliding. We're turning. And, we'll just start her up again when it comes to a complete stop.
Right.
It's kind of like that my Magic School Bus episode where they're playing baseball on that in the chapter of the science book that has no friction. And I don't know. Lessons to be learned, I suppose.
Right. And I also remember Matt Lonke, who is Aaron of the Aaron's brother, pulling the e-brake on every single turn so we can drift the corners on the ice. Like it was something we did for fun.
Which was rare. Yeah, like he was good enough at it to use it to his advantage, like pleasure-wise or extreme sport-wise, right?
Right.
Like, cool, I get to drift as far as nature will allow a car to drift, right? It's just like, so for people like Aaron's brother Matt, that was just a source of joy that could be taken advantage of, which I guess is a win in the Erie column for those keeping score at home.
Yeah.
So if you're keeping score at home, you're scoring Erie as we go and Vin Diesel references. Just, let's make that perfectly clear.
All right. So now we all know. specifically you.
Now we all know. Yeah, it was an uncommon amount of snow. I just figured everyone got snow. Not everyone does. So whenever I talk about winter, people throughout my life have probably wondered what the I was talking about. And yeah, now you know. It was eerie, and it was a freak show, and it was delightful, I think.
Yeah.
The snowing was good. Or the sledding, sorry. The snowing. After that long segment, like, the snowing was good. Like, the dumbest anyone's ever said. The sledding was fun.
Yeah.
Is what I meant to say.
Oh yeah. You want to do some highlights?
Yes, I would. I'll let you go first if you have one on ready.
Yeah. I was off for 4 days. I haven't showered in 4 days. That's kind of how my days off usually go. Don't leave the house. Don't have to worry about it. The only day that Megan and I had off together was yesterday on Christmas, and we watched. It was my second time, first time with Megan watching the whole series Glow on Netflix. It is so good, and it was nice to just we watched Beauty and the Beast. We watched a ton of Glow. We hung out. Christmas highlight of the week, right? Just getting to hang out with the people you love and do fun things and not have a care in the world. I don't know. I'm not super looking forward to going back to work, but it is a 3-day weekend, and then I think we have off on New Year's and stuff. So I don't know. Just time off is good, and hanging out with I don't know. Just not really caring about it too much. It's always fun. So that's, I don't know, my predictable highlight of the week.
Well, yeah, so Jesse and I went home to Erie. My sister surprised us, which is pretty like her, I guess, to be like, hey, I'm going home, surprise.
Right.
Like, Jesse and I had a really nice New Year's trip planned to Erie where we'd have several days and like an Otters game, like a typical Erie winter visit. They don't do First Night Erie anymore, which we'll have to do a throwback episode and talk about First Night Erie maybe at a later date, which was a really good New Year's thing they used to do.
I don't even know what that is.
There were pins and everything, Tom. We'll have to. Well, we won't have an episode about it. People just have to Google it and wonder. You can give us a call on our personal cell phone numbers, which you all have, if you want to know more. But yeah, but then my sister said, "Oh, I'm going there. Like, yeah, can you do a quick 24-hour visit and instead, can you drive the 5 hours to stay here for less than 24 hours,
right,
instead of the long New Year's visit?" And you can't say no because you're. I knew Mary would like that a whole lot, my mother, and Katie was around, which was good. Her boyfriend's parents drove in from Gaylord, Michigan, near Flint, Michigan, and they were around, and it was just a full house, definitely a Christmas Vacation, the movie type situation, but a lot of love, a lot of food. Like I mentioned last episode, I haven't been doing a whole lot of drinking, but that probably helped. It was just nice to eat cookies and have a good time. And the drive was exhausting. Jesse was a good sport for putting up with that. But
yeah,
we do this crazy thing where we do fondue on Christmas Eve.
Nice.
But it's not cheese or chocolate fondue. We do where you get nice cuts of meat and dip it into the oil to cook it at the table.
Oh, yeah.
But it always feels a little more dangerous when you do it yourself instead of at a restaurant, I've never been to the Melting Pot per se, the restaurant, where you have fondue for every course, but anyway, everyone seemed to like it, and she did too. She got to pet Luna, my parents' just crazy beautiful German hunting dog that they don't use to hunt.
Right,
it's just this glorious giant muscle that hangs out in our house and doesn't do what she's built to do. I'm rambling. It was nice to go back to Erie after we just talked about it for so long. It's got a charm, and I think it's as it says on one of the bridges on, I think, Parade and 12th, it's a great American city.
Sure.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Cool.
I think it is. I think it's possibly the best city in America.
Oh,
that's
okay.
A discussion for a different day.
Every
time I say that, you rattle off all these stats about how it's not. I should be careful.
Song of the week.
You fundamentally break me down. You give me the TED Talk on why it's not. Well, I consider myself considerably more woke now. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep. Let's do Song of the Week.
John.
Yes. Did you listen to the backload of songs you had?
I did. I listened to Oh God, the girl you gave me last week, who's the album of the year or whatever for you.
Charlie Bliss. It's a band. It's a group. She just happens to be the lead singer.
Okay, Charlie Bliss. Yeah. Um, I was very impressed by the music. I liked it a lot. I feel like her squeakiness was like it took me a minute to like just get over it, kind of.
Did you listen to Just Percolator or any other tunes?
I listened to a couple. The only one I really remember is Percolator because I was like actively listening to that one.
Right. Okay. I think it's probably the best song on the album. Black Hole's pretty good, and Gatorade is also something that grows on you, I think. But it snuck up on me. I didn't expect it, but I honestly think, um, I don't know, man. It's kind of like Tokyo Police Club's Force Field from like 2014, I think it was. One of those like random indie albums that you don't expect much from, and then you find yourself listening to it front to back over the course of several months.
Yeah, I mean
But
it was good. It
her
took
voice
me
could be
a little
off-putting.
to get over her voice, but I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, she plays it up.
Yeah, yeah. I'd see him live for sure.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, if you watch them on some of their radio appearances and stuff, uh, they jump, they're fun, they rock pretty hard. I think for I mean, so did are we allowed to say Paramore did as well? I don't know. And maybe it's unfair to even assume that bands with female lead singers get a bad rap, but I mean they bring the thunder as far as I'm concerned in a big way. So big Charlie Bliss fan. Guppy is the name of the record. Did you listen to Skywalker by Miguel?
Yeah, that song's on the radio a lot. I like that one.
It is, yeah, it is. If you would have listened to it when I said it the first time, I think it would have been more of a hipster realization at the time. But now it's a little more mainstream. But um, it's obviously good. Miguel's obviously a successful pop artist, so not much more to say there. Um, yeah, You've Got a Friend in Me, I think was your song for me.
Yeah.
By Randy Newman on the Toy Story 1 soundtrack, which he composed like the full nature of. And I like it still. So
yeah, I've spent the
yes.
weekend learning how to play it on guitar. It's been pretty challenging. It's not usually the kind of stuff that I play. I'm not a guitarist, but it's been a fun song to try to learn, try to get back into finger picking and whatnot. So that song has brought me more joy than just listening to it, but also trying to dust off the I don't know, a little bit of acoustic skills. So I've been enjoying it.
You have more than just a few acoustic skills.
No, just a little, like the smallest amount, while still being somewhat proficient. I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, where is your humbleness gonna let you? What is your own personal judge gonna let you say out loud on record? It's so awful, but proficient still. But somewhere in between that, maybe like proficiently awful. Like, yeah, sure, okay. Like, no, you.
What do you have for
are
this
a musician,
week?
I think it would be fair to say.
What do you have this week?
Well, if you must know, you know, I don't have Spotify on my phone anywhere, so I can't look it up. Did I already give you Emotions in Math?
Yeah, I don't think I listened to it.
Oh,
though.
okay.
I didn't listen to it though.
Okay, I forget the artist, female artist. We've already done Maggie Rogers. I've been listening to Christmas songs a lot, so I haven't really been. Yeah, I've been listening to just Guppy and Christmas songs, so I don't have much new, but I would say Emotions in Math. If you Google that, I forget the female artist's name, but it's quite good.
All right,
Or it's pretty good. It's an alright jam.
let me look up who it's by. Are you knocking on your desk, or is someone knocking on your door?
No, for the past 10 minutes, someone's been, I guess, hammering something.
Oh, okay.
I can hear it as well. I wasn't sure if we were going to address it, but no, I'm not actively trying to derail the podcast's audio quality, even though it often is by something small.
That's all right. We had the trash people come and knock around our dumpsters for like 5 minutes earlier on in the episode. The song is by Margaret.
It sucks that you can hear it because I was looking at the audio wave on the recording in Audacity, and it wasn't like showing up. So I thought maybe nobody could hear it, but it was loud. Yeah, it was loud. It was officially loud.
The song is by Margaret Glaspy.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. What about you?
So you're gonna be so proud of me, Pat. Christmas Eve, I was gonna go buy pants. Um, I
Oh, word?
I stopped at Guitar Center because I lost my capo, so I bought a new capo. And the first thing I saw when I walked in was Taylor Swift's 1989 on vinyl, and I elected to buy that instead of pants. So I still don't own pants, but I do own 1989 on vinyl. And
But you were already listening to 1989 digitally.
right, and I'll probably never listen to it on the record, but now I have it. But it inspired me. So I watched her live tour, 1989 World Tour, and they played some songs from the deluxe edition. Deluxe edition. Two songs I've never heard before: "New Romantics" and "You Are in Love." "You Are in Love" is one of the best songs ever written. I'm trying to convince Megan to let it be our first dance after, like, at our reception or whatever. It is by a young Taylor Swift, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't heard it. I hadn't before the other day.
Okay.
It's just I don't know, dude. It takes me away. It gives me, as the kids would say, all the feels. It's good. It's a good one.
What?
Right.
Right.
Right. So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, you're a young man who's in love, so I'm looking forward to listening to it. In terms of your wedding, what's the weekend again?
June 23rd.
June 23rd. And if we were going to elongate our time off asks at work, should we do it before or after, do you think?
I mean,
Would you rather us be around and in the state a long time before or after?
We're gonna be in town before, staying at her dad's place.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Should be a rocking time. I'm just starting to look at like plane prices or plane ticket costs and stuff like that for some of the 2018 travels. New Year's is around the corner. Jesse and I are going to head to Indianapolis this weekend because
Cool.
every other plan we tried to make fell through, and we saw that they dropped a Indy car. We thought that sounded fucking strange. So, since the three cities that are, you know how Erie has Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cincy kind of has Indianapolis, Columbus, and Louisville.
Okay.
Close.
Okay.
So
cool.
we're going to try to knock out Columbus and Indianapolis pretty soon. We're going to see John Mulaney in Columbus one of these weekends in January, and then we're going to go to Indianapolis for New Year's. So it will either be the worst or not. I don't know. We're going to add it to our list and cross it right back off. So we'll see.
Cool. You might have heard that my dog is outside my door whining like crazy. I feel like he's probably gonna himself.
Okay, we should wrap it up then, because there's been hammers and dogs whining, and next week we'll do the New Year's, and maybe we'll do Ron Carnage the week after that or something. But didn't get to it today.
Yeah. I loved our New Year's episode last year. I think we did a good job on it. So we're going to recap on what goals we did and did not accomplish and why. We're going to set new goals for the new year, and it'll be a good one. So I'm looking forward to that.
We're going to set new goals for Matt
and
Aaron.
Yeah. Yep. And Amanda and Kyle and my sister.
Well, if we start to name all of them, I knew I fucked up as soon as I mentioned one, because now that people actually listen to the show after the first few months of select few listeners, then now you just get, it's a sticky wicket, as it were.
All right. Well, so I'm gonna take my dog out. We can stay on the phone, but the listeners will go goodbye forever, or just for a week.
Bye forever.
Bye. Love you, dude.
Bye. Love you, dude.
Ba 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 ba.